everyone. We are reading Sharp Spear Games The One, his 2 chapters in his story, you know, and it's like each side of his personality don't remember the other side, and because of how Gaia's, that's legit almost the same. That's crazy. And that's like reference to like Zayd always being like, hey, I found something here you guys might be interested in. Because he technically found out who the Warriors of Light are, but no one knows what the Warriors of Light are except for Husai, and Husai never talked about it, so there was no conjunction between the two. And that's kind of a reason why Husai is like so mad at himself that he never listened to Zayd. He took Zayd for granted. He wouldn't let Zayd on the trip, and now Zayd's gone. Remember, guys, if you can't say fuck you to your friends, who can you say fuck you to? Fuck you! That's how you alienate people in your channel and you stop growing. That's why, unfortunately, I don't know if you were here for it yesterday, Muffin, but Valiant Boy is no longer a mod. Yeah. I guess somehow he thought somewhere in his head that me and Toe Connoisseur making fun of him was like us ganging up on him or something like that, because we were just bantering. And he banned Toe Connoisseur. Valiant Boy did not take it very well, but I told him multiple times, don't ban people. The nature of the basis of the personality of the person to show what path they lean towards when it comes to elemental magic. So anyone can use any element, but the element that wants to work with you and is the easiest to use can and maybe should oppose the personality of the caster. It would be unexpected and perfectly fit your narrative. Stacking buffs, right? And as long as we have some that are base and some that are multiplicative, we can have some insane stat boosts going on, right? Our magic system is based off of Final Fantasy, so it kind of narrows down how things are structured, but gives leeway on how characters interact with the magic itself. Universal income means everyone gets the same thing. Universal basic income means everyone is afforded the dignity to survive. You are afforded a shelter and your 1 food a day. You hard, it's good. I want to see if the flow is good. Yeah, sure thing, Sharp. We should finish this react, though. Let's just go through it. Okay, guys? We're just going to go through it. We've pretty much explained most things I think of. We're just going to use examples and see how good our stuff stands up to it.
And zinc and...
If you can't say fuck you to your friends, who can you say fuck you to? Fuck you! We've got Quest. We've got the Fall. We've got the Exodus. We've got the Death. Rallying that everyone does for Husai shows how good of a leader Husai is. So it's like a pictogram because their letters are like hieroglyphs, but they're placed together kind of like this to create an image. P90X, when it came out in like 2007, 2008, maybe it was 2009, but whenever P90X came out, we tried that shit for like 3 months and we were fucking dead. Because it gives you no breaks. You just keep breaking your muscles down. You don't ever build up muscle. 4,000, but I only have 132,000. Have you never used your points on anything? Oh yeah, that's right. Nothing costs points.
They're just more emotionally
Except the wellness
invested
check.
in that other...
Should have given me the shards, I would have snorted them. So this should be like as basic, like everything is perfectly dimensionally set for like the space that it needs to acquire. So the Central Galactic. Yo, 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 boys, we back. How's it going, everyone? Welcome, welcome. So, as always, we'll start with a toke, because that is how I like to start the stream. Nice and fucking high. Just burn through it, boys. Rawr! Welcome, Callie. How's it going? So, guys, since you guys are the experts, and you know what's going on. I want to do a TikTok reveal of the room. So I want your guys' idea, like your guys' opinions on it, and I'm gonna make it on stream after the commentary. So you guys will get to see the actual behind the scenes of what's in my room. So be fucking prepared. My main thing is, do I use video or do I just use pictures? And the whole point of the TikTok is to show the holographic picture. So you can see from 3 different angles. And it's 3 different women on the on the poster, painting, fucking whatever it is. Brain fried from words. Damn, Callie, get writing. Get writing, Callie. Today's gonna be a big day for writing, guys. Alright. So, again, I forgot the hell we were gonna do. So let's bring it up. You see that my writing talent was 69%? I remember when that happened, Callie, yes. Oh, right. Okay. So, okay. So, what do you guys think about this? Talks high before we toke. Before the toke. Your guys' colors are the same. It's colors that fuck me up, guys. I'm only looking at colors. I'm not looking at the actual names. I'm just looking at colors. I wish I could pick your colors in all chat. But it doesn't have any... I mean, maybe I can. Hold on. No, it doesn't let me do anything. Oh, wait, what? Yo, what? Oh, okay. Wait, what? Okay, it doesn't show up there. There was an option for timestamps, so I turned the timestamps on, but it's only for that window. But that's not the window I'm using. So I don't see the timestamps. Unfortunate. That's just the way it goes. But yeah. Bad with names, really good with colors. So when you're the same color, I'm sorry guys. It's just the way it is. But anyway, so what do you guys think of online ID? Do you think online better? Book buyer? Yes, better in the fact that it's darker, cause on the Twitch chat you're like purple, but like on my all chat you're like so dark blue it's actually stupid. Like it hurts my eyes how blue you are. Chris AM, welcome, welcome. How's it going, broski? Welcome to the stream. So, yeah, all real. Oh, there you go. Now you're the same color as Chris, but he's in kick, so it's okay. But your color now matches in the all chat and in the Twitch chat. But yeah, so one is orange, but I'm yellow. Yeah, but you're orange on my screen. But anyways, online ID. So I had this idea, you know, because no one wants like online ID. Okay, there you go. Now you're pink. Now I clearly know who you are, book. Wonderful. Okay. But, what if, for an online ID, you had only your, like, real life, like, you know, your driver's license, your social insurance, basically set up to an account, right? So the government's already got that information, right? So you set that up to an account, and then you basically pump out, like, an ID number. And that ID number is then attached to basically every email that that person has or creates. And in order to create an email, you have to go through that process. And it only gives you, like, a digital, like, numerical number. So you can go back and reference and see if accounts are the same accounts, but you can't actually, like, go to someone, like, if you go on Facebook, right, and, like, dox someone, because your real life ID is not connected to your online ID. Because, Callie, I mean, Book, the biggest problem, I got the idea to start a Minecraft writing community. Damn, Callie, that's interesting. Do you like fan fiction for, Minecraft? Interesting. Or just playing Minecraft while writing. I'm a little bit confused because there could be many connotations of how that is interpreted. But, Book Buyer, people are generally against online ID. Use the QR code on the ID card. You have to generate your online ID randomly, so it won't show anything of your ID, but your ID is required to access your emails and other line accounts. Exactly, Sean. And the public can identify whether those accounts are the same person through that numerical value, right? And then you don't have to have anything attached to an actual legal documented name. So the only way that you could get doxxed is if somebody hacked the... No, Book, I'm trying to eliminate the reason why people would be against online ID. And most people are against online ID because they assume that online ID being connected to your real ID means that you have to put your legal name on the internet on everything that you do. Which I don't think you have to do. And I came up with this idea based on StarCraft. Yeah, a random generated alphanumeric code related to your physical ID card. But see, okay, Book, this is what I want opinions for. Why would you be against having that kind of an ID? Like, do you have any kind of reason that you would be against it? Because I'm trying to... privacy. But your privacy isn't being... So, okay, so from this angle, I don't see a reason to have an online ID. Okay, Levi, I'll give you a reason. Bots. If everyone required an online ID and only one account could be connected to online ID, you would know basically instantly what were bots, because they would be extra accounts leaked on... I don't care about bots, privacy. But, okay, let me address privacy, Book Buyer. The whole point of having the random number is that it cannot be traced to your real ID. It can only be used to say that, oh, this email and this email are actually the same person, right? So it's an identifying layer. Just use IP addresses. Bots would probably just steal IDs anyway. Well, the thing, Levi, is you would notice that multiple accounts would be active at the same time. So, like, if you're online, it would flag your account as online. And if another account tried to come online with your ID, it would be blocked. So either you would be locked out because someone hijacked your ID, which would be super easy to fix. No, I'm just saying, like, that's just one of the reasons. The reason for me, personally, is so that people can't impersonate other people. It's an impersonation and like what do you call it? Like it's an insurance for the future with deep fakes. Like, if someone creates an account on Facebook with someone's name, yes, book buyers, someone will always find a way. But right now, anyone can do it and there's no consequences. Right? So, maybe we, especially getting into the age of VEO version 3, and what people are going to be able to do for deepfakes, the shit that's going to happen in the next 5 years is going to make people vote on online ID. It's going to happen. Because people are going to be like, we need to know who's actually doing this stuff. And the only way to do that and hold accountability is to have ID online ID. And it will be specifically for deepfakes. I think the solution is just not to trust online spaces, like has always been the case. Okay, so you just don't care, Book. That's fair enough, right? But it's like, you fall into a category that no matter what I do, I wouldn't please, right? So that category just kind of gets, like, pushed out of the way, right? Too advanced for me, I live in a happy bubble. I mean, it's true, Book, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I'd use the argument that all of your information is public and only your like just like one piece of information gets revealed and it's like you're instantly doxxed kind of thing, right? Where it's like mandatorily making, until it affects me, I don't care. IP addresses change when you get new net or PC, but your physical ID has a QR code on it that is otherwise useless, creating a random generated code when you scan your QR code, and that is attached to your online accounts. Must be given access to those accounts. Nobody gets anything off your ID, but only your ID's QR code can retrieve that code unless you manually enter it. The entire idea of it, Sean, is based off of the StarCraft imprint fingerprint design, where you can create an infinite amount of accounts, and you can name those accounts whatever you want, and you can put barcodes on those accounts. But all of the accounts are public, so you can look at the key bindings for the accounts. And the key binding fingerprint is how people identify what person is playing on what account. At, like, the highest level, like the top 100 in the world. Because their key bindings are so specific to their playstyle and their race that they play. So it's literally like a fingerprint. What about the people who don't have ID or the ability to scan a QR code? See, Book Buyer, that's what I'm saying, is it's like having, I guess the best way to say is it's like having a verification checkmark on Twitter. Like, I don't pay for Twitter. I don't have a verification checkmark, right? Because I don't give a fuck. I don't care. But if you wanted to get a government ID-based thing, it would... I guess this is another thing, is it wouldn't be mandatory, right? It wouldn't be mandatory. But if anything online was connected to government stuff, that's where it would be required. And if you wanted to have an imprint on the internet, you could do that, right? But what I'm saying is I think it's going to become mandatory in the next 5 years. So like what are preemptive solutions to problems that we can think of? Like, let's think of this in a hypothetical way that in 5 years, Real ID is going to be voted, like, globally to have access to the internet. Is this a story idea? Well, actually, Book, it's going to be incorporated into my idea, and I'll pull up the clip of what I'm literally going to put into my book, and it's going to be fucking amazing. Because this is like the bottom 15% retard take that I always talk about, how I want to, like, have functionalities in society, in my book, that remove the bottom 15% of society. Mainly people that are addicts to things. So we literally have, like, a sex lounge area with, like, literally, like, the entire... Anyone who's, like, wants to be degenerate like that, you literally have your own personal private space that you can go and do whatever the fuck you want in. Same with if you want to be violent. There's the Coliseum. It's literally like a PvP realm. You can do whatever the fuck you want there. and then there's the drug one, where you can do is like whatever the fuck drugs you want and stuff like that, right? So it's like, say, and then there's like a mix of them. You can have one where it's like violence and drugs, violence, drugs, and sex, sex and drugs, sex and violence. So it's like you have these incrementally split apart areas that you would call safe spaces for people that wanted to be a non-functional part of reality. Having an actual seal of quality would be worthwhile. The issue is that hundreds of nobodies have check marks. Realistically, you can't push people off the internet. That's how not how the system is set up. And it'd basically require building a new internet. Isn't that the dark web? Well, technically, yes, book buyer, because it's the same idea of anyone can basically do anything if you put enough effort into it. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to put 4 or 5 hurdles to make it like 50% harder, so that 90% less people do it. That's the idea. That's the premise. How do we put 5 hurdles that make like 80 to 90% of people go, oh, that's too much work. I'm not doing it. No. Okay. In my book, it's this, and I'm gonna try and find the quote. I think it's somewhere around here.
Sentiment for LGBT is all about the T. Like that everybody else was crazy except for me. And after I figured that out, everything else in the world started to make, men and women's sports, or make it 30, maybe. Yeah, I feel like, yeah. Military,
okay, here, it's around here. Happy Pride Month! Yay! Thanks,
18,
book.
But I could see it also being 21. Like, to drink is the same thing. Like, I think 20, and the reason why is that
it's more like trying to ban alcohol. You can make alcohol as long as you have sugar. You can interact with a network as long as you have physical access to it. True, Levi.
Much more
like, but like I said, it's hurdles for like the bottom percentage, right? There's only like a top 1% of people can use the dark web. I've tried to use it in multiple ways on my other PC for multiple reasons, like doing research and stuff like that.
14 years old. And how much of this is arrested development due to COVID? I think maybe some of it is, sure.
Okay, maybe it's a little bit later.
Also, just the way that, in the same way that, like, and also the reason why I think it's a bad idea is because if you apply that logic to any
now this is it,
where your own personal well-being is at stake, you would immediately have the same opinion, right? So, like, you wouldn't want to have a council of 10 random people decide what your medical diagnosis would be. You wouldn't want to have a council of 10 random people decide, what's wrong with your car. You'd want to have somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're doing and is not a moron. And so, and the reason why is because what if they said, I don't know what that is. Starship Troopers government? Maybe, right? Only high school graduates get to vote minimum? Yeah. You should need to complete an annual competency test to vote. I would love to see that. That would be amazing. So land-based with military service exceptions? Make it land-based. I mean, I don't agree with it being land-based. I think that there should be, in a perfect world, stupid people just, okay. All right, do you want to know my actual solution? I'm going to give you my actual solution. People might not like it.
What he is about to say is how the voting system in my book is going to work. Inside of the tree.
All right.
It's fucking perfect.
You walk into the voting booth. Everybody can walk into the voting booth. And you vote. It doesn't matter who you are or anything. Obviously, they check your ID. They make sure you're a citizen. Because imagine not checking ID for voting. I mean, how retarded would that be? But anyway, so you walk in and you do your voting. After the voting is over, you have to complete a 20-question test that requires you to use basic logic, to have a fundamental understanding of the government the branches of government, the legislative, judicial, and executive branches. It requires you to understand the Declaration of Independence, what year it happened, maybe a handful of other things, and like maybe a couple of other like logic-based questions, right? So like, for example, what's heavier, a pound of feathers or a pound of iron? And if someone says a pound of iron, so what happens is that if you even get one of these wrong, they're
Okay, Book, then let me ask you this. Like, this is how simple it is. There are 3 answers, okay? A is feathers, B is iron, and C is they're exactly the same. What's heavier? 1,000 pounds of feathers or 1,000 pounds of iron? You can vote, Book. That's literally all you need to be able to do. You just can't be so fucking stupid and have such a low IQ and low understanding that you're like, well, iron's heavier because a piece of iron is heavier than a feather. Like, just people who just cannot fucking logic. Those are the people that would not be able to vote. Like, the bar is set literally like 8 miles underground. Like, you have to dig down so far to be underneath that bar. But there are still people that are underneath that bar. So the people in my book that are like that, we'll continue on with the clip and we'll see what happens to those people.
There's a machine. So there's the voting booth, right? Okay, let me go ahead. I'm going to make this. I'm going to show you guys. So
it's
you have,
fucking
like, this
genius.
is your voting booth, right? And so here it is. Okay. And then so you have...
Well, let me ask you this, book buyer. If someone had Down syndrome, right? And they didn't understand, like, even basic, like, communication and stuff like that, right? If they're going to vote, in my opinion, then your pets should also be able to vote. If you have a cat, it should be able to vote. If you have a parrot, it should be able to vote. If you have a dog, it should be able to vote. Like, if you're going to accept those people to be able to vote, then you might as well just have absolutely everything vote. Because those people's vote doesn't have any weight to it. There's no reason for why... The reason that they're going to select whatever they're going to select is because someone else told them to select that. Right? Obviously, the feathers weigh more because chickens can't fly, but planes can. True, Callie! That's a perfect logical answer.
Like, this is the little narrow thing that you put your vote into, right? And so then your vote is going to go down this, and there is another box right here. And this is the... This is the recycling box, and there's a shredder that's underneath this. And so what happens is that you do your vote, and then if you fail the test, the shredder turns on. And it fucking shreds that shit back. And that's it. And you get to hear it. Oh man! Shit! Make it so everybody can hear it. Yeah. Make the shredder really loud.
It just points out the retards in society. Like, oh, that guy failed the test.
Yeah, there it is.
And then you know what that brings us to? You know what that brings us to? That brings us to this.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now we will begin to proceed to obtain your IQ and aptitude tests. What?
I have conflicting feelings. Normally I don't give a fuck if I can vote, but now that I can't, I'm mad. Well, book buyer, then shouldn't that, like, I don't understand. Like, you would definitely be able to vote. Like, if you can use a computer, you would be able to vote. Like, you just don't understand how low the bar actually is. Like, if you can communicate like a normal human being, you can vote. Like, if you can literally pass this IQ test, you can vote.
This is to figure out what your aptitude's good at and get you a jail job while you're being a particular individual in jail.
If you have one bucket that holds 2 gallons and another bucket that holds 5 gallons, how many buckets do you have?
2?
Thank you.
Yeah, literally! Literally! So that it shouldn't count if it's someone else who tells... No! No! I didn't say that, Book. I said people who... Like, someone who has Down syndrome, for instance. Or somebody who has some sort of... No. It's in context. It's nuanced. I said someone who has Down syndrome. Somebody who has a cognitive, like, actual brain damage or something and literally, like, can't communicate and can't talk, right? If you're literally on that level of you can't... If you were left alone for a week, you would die because you can't do anything for yourself. Let's say that, right? If you're literally, like, you can't do anything. You're literally a baby. Then you can't vote. But I added the caveat onto that saying the only reason you would accept someone's vote like that, and the only way someone like that would be able to vote, would be if someone told them who to vote for. Do you get what I mean? If you're only voting for someone because you were told to vote, then your vote isn't meaningful. If you listen to someone's argument why you should vote and used your brain to agree with them, that's fine. Unless my mom guilts me into it. But Book Buyer, the thing is, you don't have the will to think for yourself in order to vote. But you have the mental capacity to do it if you had the discipline to do it. That is what I am saying. So if you put your mind to it and you really cared and you studied for 6 hours before you voted, you would be able to vote. It's more about, are you putting... Yeah, your mom can't guilt you into it if you're incapable of doing it on your own. You can agree, like, I've always voted with what my parents vote because I don't know politics. And my parents know politics. So, we voted for Trudeau, and he legalized weed. Then he fucked Canada. I only vote when I really believe in someone. It's true, Callie. So it's one of those things. But it's like, that's how the voting process in my book is. It's literally like, if you're retarded like that, it points you out and makes, like, a public fool of you. In order for you, it's like idiot shaming in order to make people educate themselves. But, Book, the whole point of this is to see how people respond to it, right? And how people's differing opinions would clash, and what we could do if we could come to a consensus of what the best thing for that would be, right? See, I don't understand that kind of comedy. The shaming's a bit unneeded. You can't cure stupid. Some people are willfully stupid, Levi. Some people are willfully stupid. That is the problem. It's the people that are willfully stupid that cause, like, the majority of the problems. Like, as long as there is that distinction, that's fine. Like, I would say, for instance, if the sole reason, if you're an American like Trump, you can mock Trump. Well, the problem with Trump is that it's like a duality thing. The problem with Trump is also the solution. He's a con man. He's an asshole. He does what the fuck he wants. And he gets shit done. And he does it in whatever way, and he will use whatever weapon is at his disposal to do it, because he's a piece of shit. But he's successful. So what are you gonna do? He's doing what people want, right? Trump's definitely smart enough to vote. Like, the bar should be above where exclusion from military service is at. See, Levi, that's a good point, too. Is like, if the military doesn't want you, I don't want you voting. And Levi, would you agree with me on this? I have never voted on an OSRS poll because I don't know enough about the game, and I don't want to accidentally influence the game in a direction that is long-term bad because of a short-term idea that I think is cool, i.e. the idea of sailing and the potential that sailing has. But I think in the long term, adding something like sailing to RuneScape could ruin it. See, I would agree with that, Levi. You have a very, like, intellectual presence towards things, whereas I am very, like, abstract, esoteric retard who only understands, like, how to make things as subtle and retarded as possible so nobody can understand them. And as ambiguous as possible. I know the game inside and out. Sailing is a fair idea, but not the one I voted for. See, that's the one thing, Levi, is I'm worried that the potential in my head for what it is and what the developers actually do, shamanism looked kind of goated. Yeah, shamanism looked fucking badass. That was super unique. Correction, if the military doesn't want you because of your mental abilities, I don't want you to vote. I don't care if you're stupid, incapable of communication, or psychotic, or otherwise mentally dangerous. I don't want you voting. Talks, look. Did I miss something, Callie? I'm not sure if I would be allowed in the military because stress gives me hallucinations. Damn, Callie. That's brutal. You just randomly start shooting shit. It's a Viet Cong! It's a Viet Cong! This guy the fuck out of here. How to instantly get kicked out of the military. It's like we were saying for one of the commentaries where it was like, it's like, look at, I was using the example of theft. Look how easy it is for someone to steal something and the consequences of theft. Now, look at the military and look at the amount of times that someone's gone into the military and basically pulled a pile. If you don't know what a pile is, Full Metal Jacket. And other reasons the military uses are a bit dubious. Gay people weren't allowed in the military for a long time. Yeah, Levi, everything would definitely need a revision in the background, but the military is like a gay man's dream. LMAO. I mean, not necessarily, Book. Like, I think women underestimate the power of, like Asmund says this all the time, but, like, if you're, like, an 18-year-old, 19-year-old dude, and this, like, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger-looking motherfucker with, like, badass tribal and, like, crusade tattoos comes up to you and says, do you want to be a real man? Do you want to be fucking respected? Do you want to look like me one day? Join the fucking military. You have people lining up in droves because that speaks to young men. Brotherhood, respect, fucking, dignity. That is what men look for the most. And even as a like, super flamboyant dude, I am super hardcore into those kinds of connections, right? Like, there are my buddies that are my fucking brothers, bro. Like, you know, you go above and beyond for that. It's the fucking anime. That's why I love anime, because anime does friendship so much justice. Literally the power of fucking friendship. Like, how many times has the power of friendship come through in real life? Like, think of how many, like, let's say, like, documentary type movies that are made after, like events of, like, extreme tyranny or extreme, like, overcoming of things. Like, World War I movies, World War II movies, like, fucking Pearl Harbor, like, shit like that. Like, those are just fucking stashed with that fucking, like, just raw, manly, fucking Aragorn type stoicism. Military stuff always seemed pretty conscienceable to me, like becoming a cop, but worse. It's a mindset, Levi. That's the thing, is that certain people are just made for that kind of mindset. Whether you're a violent person or not, it's like, I'm not a violent person, right? And my coworkers were even, like in shock and fucking awe, and were, like, saying, even to this day, people will come up to me and say, I can't believe you did that. When I ran up and I grabbed the guy by the shoulders, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? When he was trying to steal all of the shit from the store. Because I'm just like a passive, chill dude. But it's like when I see someone else in trouble, it's a 65-year-old woman and a 65-year-old man. I'm jumping in the middle of that fucking immediately because I can take more than they can. I'm a young fucking guy. He hits me, it's all fucking good, right? He hits them, oh, that's bad. That's really bad, right? So, in that situation, I didn't even think. The thing I thought was, guys, this was my thought process. I was like, jump over counter. No, jumping over counter will take longer. Run around. And by the time that thought process has gone through, I was already chasing the guy or trying to stop the guy from getting out of the fucking store. But Book, this is the thing. You put me in a situation where I'm not that person. We were at a restaurant, right?
You're in for it now, sweetheart.
Oh,
Take
Smokey,
those
perfect
sexy
timing.
glasses off like a good girl.
Okay,
You don't need
so-
to see what happens next.
This is the epitome of my normal personality, guys. Okay, so we're sitting in a restaurant, right? It's like a little diner, and like this was when I was like 16, but this like I still have the same freeze and like whatever response to this day. If I know there's someone else in the situation that can take care of the situation and I don't have to man up. My buddy was native, and in my old town, like, native kids hanging out with white kids was seen as like betrayal to like the native people. So this native dude hanging out with us got all these native dudes to jump us at the diner while we were there. So like some, like, you know, they like jump over from the sides and like knock our milkshakes and shit over, and like literally I'm instantly fucking crying, curled up in a little ball, crying my fucking ass off. Well, they're chasing these guys out of the store, and my buddy runs one over and breaks his hip. And it's like, if there is someone else in the situation that can take care of it, I'm a fucking little bitch baby. Fuck that, I'm out. But if there's no one in the situation and I have to man up, I'll fucking man up. But only if I absolutely motherfucking have to. It's happened like maybe 5 times in my life. And that grabbing that guy was one of them. It's like another one was standing up for a chick, I got punched in the face. Another one was I got arrested for not leaving a school party. Like a school dance. Because I was chaperoning kids for their parents, because it was for my younger sister and her friends and shit. But anyways, and I'd gone to the school, and I like worked with, it was fucking stupid. But anyways, like shit like that, right? And it's like, yeah, I understand. No, Smokey, if it's a full moon, it talks wolf up. Yes, exactly. June 10th, guys. June 10th is the makeup stream. If you're wondering when the makeup stream is, it's June 10th. Today is June 1st. So this stream is June 1st. So we have 9 more days. Then the makeup stream. Why does that seem hot? See, I would have a meltdown. The appeal really seems to be that being in the military is a context where you regularly get dominate by other men. Talks Wolfstream when? Not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. Okay, guys, next Tuesday. Write it down on the calendar. Next Tuesday. Won't fap till then? Yes, Smokey. Save it. Save it all. Goon out as hard as you can. Wolf fur thing showing abs. True, Smokey, true. Have we started the video yet? No. We haven't even started typing into Grok yet. This was all commentary on voting. Ew, I don't like that emoji. Smoke time. Toke time! Here we go. Alright, alright, alright. I gotta put the music back on now that we're done with the clips. We're gonna ask Grok what it thinks about it. Because I like all angles, including... I'm sorry, book buyer. Yeah, Smokey, she's the one girl in the community, so she's... I'm trying to say people and chat instead of boys. It's not working, but I'm fucking trying. And you guys know what's even worse? Is I want you guys to help me make my next TikTok video. So after we do the Grok thing, we gotta do the TikTok thing. And then we can do the video about editing, and then we can finish editing this draft of, Reverse 9/11. Fellas, that's less loaded. That's true. That's true, Levi. Okay, so what would be some reasons for pushback against a real internet ID system that has your ID tied to a government account that is only displayed publicly as a numerical value? This would not connect in any way to your real ID unless you had access to the government database. I'm falling off my bed. I have a queen. Why am I on the edge? Ooh, book buyer. That's interesting. I'd be like a moth to the flame for the book symbol in the sky. Baby blue circle with a flying book. That ought to do it. She's Batgirl, only for books. Where's the book symbol so we can summon her at need? Very true, Sean. We should get like an emote like that. Oh, and put a bat on the cover of the book just to stick the image in people's minds. True. True. See, Smokey knows how to use the actual emotes, man. Look at all those emotes. We got tons of emotes on Kick. This would allow people to connect different accounts to hold said people, I guess, accountable for actions. doxing them. How else would you word this? I still want a projectile vomit emote on the Book of Faces. I mean, that's very interesting. Roach out! Roach out! So what would be some reasons for pushback against a real internet ID system that has your ID tied to a government account that is only displayed publicly as a numerical value? This would not connect in any way to your real ID unless you had access to the government database. This would allow people to connect different accounts to hold said people accountable for actions without doxing them, as well as many other things such as identifying stolen credentials, stopping spam and bots. I am sure you can come up with some other reasons as well. I guess make a pros and cons list and let's review it. Boom. Some of the food videos I see on there make me want to throw up, as do some of the fantasy flavors of different foods or drinks. Well, it's like, Sean, the main delicacy, the most popular and delicious food in the entire book is dire mite legs. Dire mites are giant spiders. And their leg meat is the most tender, amazing, delectable. It's like a mix between beef, crab, lobster, and it's basically like the idea of like a land crab. And yeah. But I wanted something that would gross people out and push people away, but describe it so amazingly that people would want to eat it. It's like, you know, people eat those fucked up foods and stuff? It's like most people eat those fucked up foods as like a shock factor, right? No one eats the food because it actually tastes good, right? It's like we don't drink alcohol because it tastes good. We drink alcohol because of the effect that it has, right? So this is like an absolutely disgusting food in real life that you could think of, but it's placed in this area of just divine food. Anchovy Oreos would make me vomit for sure. What the fuck, Sean? But some people would find that delicious, right? And that depends on your taste buds too. Like, I'm huge into salt, but I don't like anchovies. Just like I don't like olives. But it's like I love salt, so I just don't know why I don't like those. I just don't. But I fucking love seafood and shrimp and like caviar and... Or not caviar, calamari. I've never actually had caviar, so I can't say that I don't know that. But real internet ID system where a government ID... issued ID is linked to online accounts but displayed publicly only as numerical value as potential... has potential benefits and drawbacks. Below is a list of pros and cons that list to evaluate the concept. Pros. Accountability without doxing. System allows users to be held accountable for online actions. Reduction of spam and bots. Identification of stolen credentials. Enhanced trust in online interactions. Combating illegal activities. I would be with full-sized it would be with full-size anchovies, but they put on pizza still has the heads. Ugh. Streamlined account recovery, support for digital governance, cross-platform consistency, privacy concerns. Even with numerical IDs, users may fear government surveillance. Wait, what? Users may fear government surveillance or data leaks, especially if the database link ID is compromised. But let me ask you this, guys. That's already a reality. Any government database that has your tax information, that has your absolutely everything, someone can hack into that. There are people that have access to that could at some point in time be willing to sell that information. So even with the systems that we have in place today, this can still happen. All we are doing is saying this is the scope of what it can do now. This is the scope of what it would be able to do with Real ID. How is reducing that scope in any way bad? And how does it affect your privacy in any way that doxing doesn't? You can still get doxed. It's going to be a while until we go to the writing, book buyer. Usually writing is like the halfway point into the stream. And today's probably going to be a really long stream. Because like I have 1 day off. So I have like 1 day to go hard. So we're going to go hard. Government overreach. Centralized control of online identities could lead to abuse. But that already happens! All of these cons already happen in the real world with the things that we have. So how would incorporating data security, exclusion and vulnerability, potential for discrimination... Okay, all of your cons are things that currently happen, and if this real ID system went into place, it would only reduce it. Could you come up with a reason how this would increase in any way the amount of abuse that already happens? I'll go see if I can find a co-author somewhere else for now. I'll pop back in like 90 minutes. Alright, sounds good, book buyer. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out. Enhanced government surveillance and targeted abuse. Current state. Governments already monitor online activity to varying degrees, often using metadata or cooperation with tech platforms. Anonymity provides some protection for dissenters or whistleblowers. Increased abuse with Real ID. A centralized government database linking numerical IDs to real IDs can enable authorization regimes, or even democratic ones with poor oversight, to more efficiently track and target individuals based on their online behavior. For example, a government could cross-reference numerical IDs with posts critical to its policies, then access the database to identify and harass, detain, or silence those users. This could amplify existing abuses like censorship or persecution of activists, as the system would make it easier to connect online actions to the real world. Okay, but again, this already happens. Why it's worse. Unlike the current fragmented system, where platforms like X or others might resist government data requests, mandatory government-run ID system centralizes control, potentially streamlining surveillance and reducing barriers to browsing power. If the government asks for your information, they get it. So, does this not just expedite the process, and is that not a good thing? We are talking about the current government of the USA, specifically. So how, again, how is this worse? And, if you give examples, please say if it is a current issue we face or a new issue created solely by this system. Man, we really got to work this one down. You're asking whether, okay, does the system just expedite government access, and is that good? Current reality. The US government, the government can access personal information through illegal mechanisms like subpoenas, court orders, or national security letters. Agencies like the FBI can request data from tech companies under laws However, this process often involves bureaucratic hurdles, judicial oversight. Okay. Expedition via real... The proposed system would streamline government access to centralizing identity in a data government-controlled database. Instead of requesting data from multiple platforms, agency could query the database to link a numerical ID to real identity. Likely the fewer legal or technical is expedition good. Potential benefits. Downside. Speeding up the access could also amplify risks if oversight is weak for the system is abused. Okay, using the same systems, right? Using the exact same systems that we currently have in place that are already abused, how can this be worse in the US context? Increased surveillance and overreach. Okay. Amplified data breaches. Okay. Proliferating and discrimination. So basically what it's saying is, if someone wants to do something bad, it's just easier for them to do something bad. So I'm gonna say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a detriment is the system, and how much of a benefit is it? Rate each individually. See where this goes. Detriment. Ooh, reasoning. Amplified abuse. U.S. context. Why not higher? The
Cute Muffin's rated my
Cute
stream
Muffin!
with 2 viewers.
Welcome,
Welcome,
welcome!
Raiders, to the
The
stream.
detriment isn't a 10 because safeguards could mitigate risks if implemented well.
Well, I will be there.
10 is transformative. Rating 6. So it's I think it's actually less beneficial. Damn! I mean, that's completely contradictory to what I think, but this is why we do this, right? It's to get other people's opinions about it. Welcome, Muffin. How's it going? I'd be interested in your take on this, Muffin, because I'm an idea person. I like presenting ideas. I'm a theoretical, like, idealist, i.e. a philosopher. I don't believe necessarily in the implementation of systems. I believe in the discussion of systems. And what we are currently discussing is what would a real online ID system. So imagine this. It's an ID system that's connected to your government ID, but the only public-facing side of it is a random numerical value that's like 21 digits long or some shit like that, right? And when it's basically like a fingerprint on the internet, right? Now let's take a step back and let's examine how a fingerprint works, right? You can take the fingerprint of basically absolutely anyone at any time with basically a piece of tape, right? It's super easy to take someone's fingerprint. But what can you actually do with that fingerprint, right? Only like the smallest, tiniest bit of people that are actually criminals or would-be criminals would be able to do something with that fingerprint, right? So that's kind of the same idea. Because first of all, let's say you don't know who the fingerprint is. You just have a fingerprint. Okay, well, I can use this fingerprint for something. Well, what can I use it for? I don't know, because I don't know who it goes to, so I don't know what system it actually has access to. All I know is I have a fingerprint. Now, what you would be able to do with that fingerprint is match it to any online ID. So, for instance, I have my name is connected to one of my Hotmails. Then I have Intoxication. I have Relifed. I have Naughty Talks. I have Leet Itox. I have Intoxication 5077. Like, I have all of these accounts, right? So if you wanted to go into a public-facing database, and you could get the information of that ID, and pull up all the accounts that I had on the internet that were connected to my ID. Now it would be mandatory that none of those IDs, for instance, like Twitter, were connected to your legal government ID, right? So even with that, you'd only be able to match the fingerprints up, but you'd never be able to find out who the fingerprint actually belonged to. Does that make sense? And like, you could never see your own fingerprint unless, well, actually, yeah, you wouldn't even know your own fingerprint. Been streamed for almost 7 hours. I didn't understand half of what you said, not gonna lie. Fuck. How do I put this in such a simple terms? It's so hard for me. It doesn't. I'm just looking for your opinion because you're a younger guy, Muffin. So, like, because, like, this is coming from the angle, Muffin, that I believe within the next 5 years, it's going to be voted basically globally that you need real ID in order to connect to any website on the internet. Just every website is just going to require you to log in, and the only way to log in is to log in with your real ID. Okay, that's the context and premise of this. So imagine a world where you had to do that. That would fucking suck because it would put all of your personal information on the internet, right? So in order to create a workaround for that, you would just have a database that you could only access if you were a government employee with the credentials in order to access the database for, like, cataloging reasons for working for the government. Just like anyone can who has the access to your tax files, who has access to your banking files. Like, we give privileges to civil servants that have access to our information daily because they're the ones that are dealing with it. And we have, like, a suspension of disbelief that those people won't abuse the information that we've been given to them. So that's the premise of this. Is the only people that would be able to abuse it are the people that would basically be able to sell your banking information. Now imagine if someone at the bank took your banking information and sold your banking information. They would go to jail for life. So it just basically doesn't happen, right? That seems unreasonable. It's like pay to win. You have to submit what you have just to use the whole web. Yes, Muffin. But what the premise of this is that it's going to be unreasonable. Unreasonable people that believe that the internet needs to be accountable for things are going to be at a majority where they vote for it and it's going to happen. That's what I think. So we're just premising this around the theory that happens, right? And let's play with that theory. Let's do some preemptive thinking, right? So what if you had a database that from the government side, they would see your real name, all of your information, all of your government information, and then some randomly generated number that's associated with you, like your driver's license number, right? Or your social insurance number, right? Because we all have these. Now, that number is randomly generated to the point that only someone inside of the database, I don't like the database, except having a list of ID codes generated, but not who it belongs to. Rather, a program that you download that will generate your ID code, that you then input your online services as that fingerprint. That way, if someone accuses you of sending hate mail online, you could prove your fingerprint didn't match the sender. See, but Sean, I don't think I'm explaining this very well, because what you said is exactly what I want. But the only person who can cross-reference that is a government employee. Does that make sense? Right? Just like now, if you call up the bank and you say, I'm such and such, and they say, okay, well, what's your social insurance number? And you give them their social insurance number, and they ask, okay, well, what's the transit number on the bank? And then they're going to ask you all of that bank information. If you don't have that bank information, they're not going to let you into the account. And they're going to flag it as fraudulent. And if they get into the account and it's not you, and you find out, you flag it as fraudulent, and then they go into the database and they say, oh yeah, the money was taken out in China. Obviously that wasn't you. This, like, what I'm saying is this system already exists. So how is it a bad thing that it's connected all of a sudden to just internet activity? It's connected to your bank account, it's connected to your taxes, it's connected to your voting profile. It's connected to everything. So all I'm saying is we're taking the information that's basically aggregated on the internet that companies have, and we're putting it in a solidified box on the government side of things, like a government black box that only the government can look in. Isn't that better than having your the companies have all of your fucking information and it being completely legal for them to do whatever you want with their your information? That's another angle of this, is companies selling your information and your information being on the internet from somebody else and them using it in marketing without paying you. Imagine if due to Real ID, could this be a turning point? If Real ID became a thing and any company used your information in any way on the internet, you would have to get paid. Would that change your opinion towards online ID? I think that's actually a very interesting thought. And remember, this is all experimental thought process, right? Like, how far can we go through this? Like, this is how my idea of creativity is. And the other thing is, all of this can be incorporated into my book. This can all be world building on, like, a conscious network level. Like, this is like an innate thing that Gaia sends to people. And this could be an absolute beautiful mindset for the foundation of how instinct works. And it's like, that's the direction that I like to push this kind of stuff, right? And it's like, how far ahead can we think for it? And the main point for it is that the, how would you say this? The... I guess the best way to say it is just the way that it is now is so bad, I don't think people know how bad it is, and that's why I think they're, like, so pushbacky against it. But I just love other people's thoughts on it, because I'm like, it's like the same thing with universal basic income for me. I'm like, I just can't conceptualize why someone wouldn't want universal basic income. I can't. The only reason I can fathom it is because what they think universal basic income isn't actually what universal basic income is. Like I said, it's like a 1 meter box with a bowl of rice a day, and your bed, your toilet, and your stove are all beside each other. Like, that's like how low the bar for universal basic income is. Right? You just wouldn't have homeless people. And you wouldn't have starving people. Those are the two solutions that you get rid of with universal basic income. That's it. Everything else after that doesn't fucking really matter, right? But it is what it is. So, $12 strategies for editing, guys. Are we ready for this? Let's fucking get into it. We finally have something for editing.
Congrats! You're at the stage in your book when you are ready to edit. But the skills of an editor are different than that of a writer, and even if you're a very good writer, sometimes you cannot be that great of an editor. Now, maybe you're considering hiring someone to edit, and that's fine, but even so, you still need to self-edit it before you send it out to them. Here are 12 strategies that you should use when editing your manuscript. I think it will definitely level up your editing skills. 1. The text transplant.
So how I'd want it to work is you download the program. Then use the program to add your ID code in whichever online account you want it on, such as Facebook. Then whenever you send a message from your Facebook account or create a post, that ID code would be hidden in the data, undetectable to the average person, but detectable to any cybersecurity operative. Sean, that's how it works right now. Or am I wrong? Because I'm really confused, Sean. So you're basically saying that you just want to use the system that we currently have. Right now, only your ISP is shown. Well, this would be generated by your physical ID's QR code to act as a fingerprint. Anyone can claim to be you on another PC with a different ISP. Okay, so again, like as far as I know, like that's how they track fraud. So again, I'm confused because that's already what we do. That's already what the government does. So like again, so you're not so you're not advocating for basically any change. Because for instance, okay, now like this is just I guess this is conspiracy theory head for me, Sean. But like I believe if you're talking on the level of like terrorists, right? We're talking like I've always considered there's like the like whatever you want to call it, right? The international FBI, the international CIA, like the conglomerate of each of those like secret services from every country in the world that all work together for specifically internet crime, right? Like they have the tools to figure it out basically instantly, right? So like despite the fact that your ID is not connected directly to the database, and you are correct, it's connected to the ISP, in a sense, they can narrow it down and figure out exactly who it is. right? All we would be doing with the system you're suggesting is basically expediting that process. But what I'm saying is that process already happens now. So the advocacy for online ID wouldn't even technically be a necessity, right? Like, again, I'm coming at this from the mindset of in 5 years, Real ID is gonna be mandatory. So how do we make it like the best kind of ID system possible? People can guess passwords and email addresses, but the random generated code based on the QR code scanning would be impossible to guess. 20 plus characters, including letters, numbers, and symbols, wouldn't be easy to guess. But again, Sean, this brings up the same issue. It's just it's taking the issue that's like this right now and making the issue like this. But people can still steal your physical ID. What happens if you lose your physical ID? Now someone else has the QR code that they can scan. So it's like, to me, that instantly makes the idea of having a QR code on your physical ID a liability. And that's where leaving everything in the hands of the government, no matter how much you trust the government, because the government has accountability, or should have the accountability, should you not have it own? It's because that would be like, Sean, if it's the same thing with your bank. People can steal your bank information and fuck with your bank, but because the only way to get your bank information is from a government source, i.e. a void check, a bill of some kind, like a paper note, a receipt of some kind, but some sort of government posted like identifier that goes with the bank. So it's like the only way to steal your bank information is if you've actually physically like leaked your bank information, or it's been like leaked somewhere, like someone hacked into a government database, which again already happens. So all we're doing is taking a problem that exists like this and making it like this, because you can never eliminate the problem, you can only narrow it down. And all I'm trying to do is find ways to think of narrowing it down as much as possible, but making sure that it does not put your real name on the internet. And I think the only way to do that is to have a government database that only a certain, like, you need a clearance level of some kind to access this database. This database is only accessed by government employees that deal specifically with the internet branch. And the public, you do not know what your ID is. You cannot find out what your ID is. No one knows. The only thing that they know is that this ID on this account matches this ID on this account. So whoever is using this account is the same person who's using this account. But there is absolutely no way, unless you hack into the government database, to put a real ID name to that name. Does that make sense? Is that a better way of presenting it? Like, in that context? Because I have this big problem, Sean, where people think that I debate. And I think it's just a tone and an attitude thing for me. But I'm going to break the fourth wall here and say, if I ever come off as like condescending, it starts with a P, what's the word? Like, you know, like condescending, you know, like looking down on you in some way because of your ideas. Call me out on it, because that's not like my presentation could be off, and that's not at all how I feel. This is just a hypothetical, me trying to work through the cogs of this, being like, okay, what's the best ideas with logic, right? It's a big proposal to try to describe, but I think I understand what you're saying. Okay, yeah, and that's what I mean, Sean, is like, without discussion on the topic, there's no way for me to break it down to a level that other people can understand, right? And it's like, I like having back and forths and feedback, so I never want it to feel like someone who says some sort of feedback feels like either I'm belittling them, condescending them, not taking their opinion into account, right? Because so far, every opinion that anyone in chat has presented, I've already thought of it, I've already dismissed it because of a reason. And when I present that reason to the person, they don't get it. But as soon as I presented the reason to you with, like, for instance, the QR code, and I said, well, that causes the same problem we already have, and you said that's valid. And I'm like, okay, well, let's find a way to eliminate that problem, right? And that's my way of talking through things, right? And I think this is why I'm better specifically at talking dialogue than I am writing dialogue. Because when I'm talking, it's a completely different mindset and perspective when I have. So maybe something I need to do is think about what my mindset is while I'm talking and incorporate that somehow into my writing. That would be an amazing skill to have. But I think people don't understand, like, the level of what currently happens and how it happens, and that leaves this massive gap between it, right? And it's like, I'm not that great at communicating things, right? So it's like, I really rely heavily on other people to get me through that barrier of talking to people and getting my idea across. And it's like, that is the sole reason I like interacting with people. The reason I hate socializing with people is because no one can ever see... I've never met anyone in real life, other than my dad, who sees things on the same level that I do. No matter how long I've known... Maybe Josh, actually. My best friend Josh, probably, actually. That's why he's my best friend. Right? But no one can ever get to that level of, like, okay, well, I've already considered everything, and I've come to this point of, okay, this proposition of this idea, how could this be a downfall? And then everyone's like, well, this, and this. And I'm like, well, that already happens, so I've already taken that out of the equation. If it's something that has, like, I couldn't even get Grok to do this. I was like, does this create a new problem, or does it simply solve and make other problems smaller? And it came back and said, well, it makes other problems smaller, it just makes them easier. It makes them easier for the people that could do it anyways. It makes it impossible for the people that could do it before, right? So it's like a massive hurdle of gatekeeping. And I know we've been on this tangent for an hour and a half, so I'm going to cut it off there, and I'm going to teach myself, this is a lesson to, loss of your physical ID will always be an issue regardless of having this ID code for the online functions. Maybe instead you'd get a mailed QR code from the government or whoever, and use that to create your ID code with the instructions that you open all your online accounts when you generate your code. Then whenever you create a new account, it will add the code automatically. I don't know. But the whole point, Sean, is... So, okay, let's do this. Let's start from scratch, right? So we're starting from zero. Let's say, hypothetically, right? Because most systems require entire rewrites for things that are structurally and foundationally, like, a change, right? So, let's hypothetically say we have to recreate everything from scratch. That means on the user side. Not like there's like some sort of patch that goes out on the internet that basically adds a qualifier check mark And remember, this is not, I mean, in a hypothetical world, we would vote it in and it would be mandatory. But let's just start off with the premise that it's not mandatory, it's opt-in. But if you opt in, it's like a, you know, but you can't, it's not a pay to win. So my problem with the check mark on Twitter is that you pay for it. It's pay to win. Right? Now, what if there was a check mark that you could get on Twitter if you connected your Twitter to your real ID to say that, yes, I am a real person? How about that? Just super simple. Super simple. And you had to do this to your email. And then your email that had a check mark, when you signed up for a website, that check mark would flag a check mark on your account. So every account that had this specific check mark would tell you that it was a real ID'd person. There's no pay to win. There's no bullshit. It's, you verified your ID, you're a verified person. And that is only connected to a back end that the government has access to, or back end of the website, which people already have access to. So we're not changing anything, right? I think that is the easiest way to do it and the best way to do it. But that's just me coming from like whatever brainwave idea wise I am at, right? But I'm going to take this as a learning, what do you call it? A learning exercise for, if I can't get the idea across by the second try, I need to go back to the drawing board on how I'm presenting the idea. And that needs to be like an off-stream thing. Like if I'm going to bring a topic up on stream, it's a fun thought experiment. I think it is, Sean. But the problem is, now, I'm going to say this, I don't want to be audience captured, right? But I think topics like this can definitely be a turnoff for people. So there is a point where you hit, like I said, there's in a graph, there's always a plateau. In a graph, there's always a plateau. I need to figure out, as the streamer, where the plateau for my audience is. Like, how long can I tangent on a certain topic? What is the weight of that topic? How does that affect my audience? Because it is something I have. It can't be the end all and be all, or a reason to not talk about a topic. But it does need to be something that I consider when I'm talking about it. I need a name, by the way. One that doubles as city and man. I'm sort of thinking Franklin. It almost sounds like a city name. I'm not sure. What about Devon? I can think of like Devon, Samuel. No, not Daniel. I think Daniel would be better. I don't know why I'm going biblical names, but like Isaiah? Oh, Daryl. I think Daryl is, it's short, it's concise. Welcome to Daryl. And you know what's funny about that, Sean? Is like 19 or 20 of the places around here are named after like people. Like it's like I'm trying to think of ones that aren't too close that'll like literally like oh, you would only know of this place if you're close by it. Well, obviously. So yeah, maybe I shouldn't even say any of the names. But Daryl, I don't know why. I think Jennifer works too, but that's a female name. What about Hudson? I mean, that's a real life example, but I don't know. I think that one's good too. But anyways, like finding a plateau point where it's like I've been tangenting about a topic and nothing has been, like the conversation hasn't moved, right? If the conversation hasn't moved and I've been still talking about this for an hour, that's going to affect my audience because they're going to get bored of me talking about this stupid retarded topic and we're not getting anywhere with it, right? Present the idea 2-3 times in a different way. If it doesn't hit, drop the idea, come back to it a different time. Daryl works, I think. The main character's name is Frank, so Franklin as a name wouldn't feel right. He's not telling the locals what he used to be called. They probably wouldn't come up with a longer version of his old name. Yeah, I don't know why Daryl just sounds good. But anyways, we gotta take a toke, and the main point is, I am trying to evolve the stream at all points in times, right? But this is a really, really obscure... This is why I guess I can't connect with people. This is a really obscure concept, but it's the instant concept that comes to my mind. It's like, oh, this visualization. There's no way someone wouldn't understand the consequences and the scale of this imagery. So there wouldn't be a reason biologically or evolutionarily for you to develop a kneecap on the back of your knee. Now, imagine what would happen if you developed a kneecap on the back of your knee. Because in my mind, it instantly makes me think, well, you can't bend your knee. Because imagine trying to, like, overextend your knee forwards. And if you tried to bend your knee backwards, it would overextend that way. So it's like, evolution would never put a kneecap on both sides because it reduces the functionality and purpose, right? So, like, that's how I think about things on a level, like, ridiculously abstract like that. But I'm like, how can I make the most ridiculous, hyperbolic statement with a visualization added to it to get my point across? And my point is, in evolution, evolution makes mistakes. So having a kneecap on both sides of your legs would be an evolutionary mistake. Evolution would not have its ultimate goal was wrong when it decided to do that because it reduced the functionality of the leg, right? So you would consider that a move backwards, a step backwards, not a step forwards. And that's kind of how I look at things. I'm like, is this evolutionary path that I'm going down for the stream evolving a kneecap on the back of my knee? And at this point in time, adding this, like, talking to Grok and, like, this commentary at the beginning of the stream and adding in, like, the TikTok stuff at the beginning of the stream, this experiment has failed absolutely miserably. So I'm going to take this as the plateau moment where I'm going to go back to the drawing board and I'm going to reinvent how I do the stream. And my initial thoughts are, don't fuck with the current structure. Just add more structure to what we currently have. So, tomorrow, we are eliminating, or should I say, moving around, this commentary section. I still want to do this commentary section. I think, like, it's something in the long run I want to add to the stream as, like, a dedicated thing of some sort of topic, some sort of thing that I talk about. But I'm trying to use this in a way to incorporate it into my book, and I think presenting it in that way is going to jive more with my audience. So today is like a break the fourth wall, experimental, let's go back to the drawing board, let's look at the graphs. Change it to read his tangents in bold. True, Sean, but the problem is, this entire topic isn't a tangent. It's a dedicated topic that I chose that has the potential for infinite tangents to create nuance and structure within the idea. Oh shit. And my PC just freaked out. Are we good, guys? Last time that happened, Twitch crashed. Are we good? Like, all of my shit just blacked out. Now I gotta, like, refresh everything.
Congrats.
Oh, shit. OBS completely froze. Alright. Okay, guys. The stream got so bored of me talking, Smokey. The plus you in the chat and the list of today's chores, etc. Yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, because no, you shouldn't be able to see this, because this is on my screen, and it's not showing my screen. So, the stream got so bored of me talking that it fucking turned off. So I have to restart the stream. So I will be right back. That doesn't mean we're changing the topic of discussion, because this is going to be like a public service announcement for a restructuring of the stream for people, so I can put it up as a YouTube video so people can know what the new idea is going to be. But anyways, I will be right back. The stream fucked off